shout out for that.
And it looks like we're about to start soon.
Real quick, what kind of seed do you want?
Oh, I obviously as trolly as possible. It can't be that trolly. They are actually going to get their sword early because this is standard mode.
You know what I'd like to see?
What is
Master Sword on pedestal, third sword in Ganon's tower.
That's fantastic.
At the top.
And we have 300 rupees in the first chest.
Always nice to start off with a little bit of cash, although that's more than a little bit. That's
more than a little bit.
That's going to take care of quite a few things.
We're probably not going to be seeing Houlihan Room this seed with that early. Oh, but we might. I mean, I know some people go to Houlihan Room every single seed, no matter what.
And of course, like we said, you know, you are guaranteed a weapon off of Uncle. This is just going to be the fighter sword. Main thing we're going to be running into, remember, we have guaranteed chest spawns, so we're going to be able to check all these items in the escape sequence. Also, ooh, blue mail. How about that? A really good item to find here because, like I said, hard mode, they've taken a lot of their safeties away. But they will have that to essentially double their health pool. Also, that is the best armor they will find. The red mail has been removed, don't forget.
Yep. And lastly, you may be you may be used to seeing people do dark rooms, but that is not required for the escape. They will be getting access to a light, even though they may not have the lantern.
That is exactly right. What you're going to run, and what you're going to see when they get to that part of escape, they will be provided the light source even if they don't have the lamp. Now, as soon as they set foot in Sanctuary, no more lamp until you find one.
Absolutely. And we have our first single arrow. So there's our first validation.
Yep, we can sew now.
Absolutely.
One of the nice things about standard seed, now granted, you may run into a couple of different kinks, but standard is something you can practice. You can run this, especially if you've got NMG experience. This is going to give you a way to you can standardize this opening. You can do it pretty much the same way every time.
I forgot that single arrow in hard mode there's not only one of them because of all of the upgrades have been pulled out.
But that's okay. That just means this run's going to be really valid. No doubt.
Yeah, I don't foresee people cheating with like exploration glitch here.
Chirality making good use of the pots up in top right. That's a very quick kill you can get there. Because remember, with Fighter Sword, it does take a little bit. Also, you definitely don't want a Death Warp here because you'll start over at the beginning.
Yep. The pots is my preferred way of doing this, personally, especially if you don't want to be taking damage.
It's a matter of comfort. You know, everybody's got their own strats they're comfortable with. And, you know, the long thing is, you know, make sure you do what you can perform well. And like I said, all of these runners are doing very well so far. Typically, if you can do an escape sequence in about the 6-minute mark, maybe a little bit less, you're doing pretty good.
Absolutely. Solski off to a little bit of a lead. He looks to be doing a serious amount of pumping here.
So those little optimizations, they catch up. I mean, they do add up over time.
For those who don't know, air pumping and wall pumping is ways to make Link move just a pixel faster every other frame, essentially. That it saves frames over the course of the entire run if in a normal NMG run, but it can save a few more seconds over the course of an entire run in randomizer where you're not necessarily getting the boots very early.
Absolutely. I do want to give a quick shout out to our 2 trackers tonight. We're going to have Zombie Twitch and I Am Swag Duck. So thank you to our boys out there, keeping everything up to date. You know, give them a shout out, give them a follow, because let me tell you what, folks, that is not an easy job to do. I've done it once, and I'll take the commentary booth any day.
I personally have enjoyed tracking when I've done it. I find it a little bit relaxing personally, but I know some people don't necessarily.
I guess it depends on personality and a lot of other things too. I just not my cup of tea, unfortunately.
Of course.
Solski, take the lead, going to show us a. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step over you there. Go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
I'll just say, Solski, he's going to show us what we've got back here. It looks like we got some cash, part of a heart, and then the map. So, really, about the only really good item we found in Escape was that blue mail.
The bomb drop that all of our runners seem to have gotten is a big deal. Not having to come back here, even though there's nothing here, is going to be very useful later on.
Absolutely. Although there are ways that you can help to farm up that initial bomb, and there are higher drop rates, if I remember correctly.
Hey, look, it's an initial bomb.
Well.
So, I believe, I'm not certain about this, that each of the bomb upgrades has been replaced with a single bomb, which the single arrow, not very useful, but single bomb, absolutely amazing.
Oh yes. Remember, all capacity upgrades have been removed, so there will be no bomb bags, there will be no quivers. So you're going to have to make sure that you very carefully manage your resources throughout this run.
I completely missed what that was on Solski's screen. Did you catch it?
It looked like a nickel, maybe? Not 100% sure. We'll have a couple more chances to take a look at it.
Of course.
Or as they sometimes call it, a little 20.
It was little 5. You know, like the race in Indy.
Just a tiny one.
Yep.
Solski ending up not picking up the piece of heart. Now that's interesting because heart containers, their drop rates have been reduced here. And finding a mirror, so definitely a good find to have there.
Yep. I wonder if he's going to go through Blind's hut differently with that mirror, since he could definitely destroy the blocks on his way down.
Yeah, that does make it to where he could push through there just a little bit quicker. But, you know, I mean, everybody's a little bit different.
Absolutely.
The nice thing is our runners coming into the village are going to have lots of money, so your bottle vendor is going to be checkable. You're going to have enough to make sure that you're well stocked for the initial run through. And the Moon Pearl, so very nice. Putting together that Dark World kit already.
We're just missing 2 more items before we're in Dark World.
Yep, we need a hammer and gloves, or gloves and Titan's mitts.
Absolutely. Solski headed down to do what I suspect a lot of our runners are going to be doing, and buying bombs.
Oh yes, remember the logic expects you to always have 10 bombs on you at any given point. Now they will find a lot more single bombs, like you said, but you know sometimes it's nice to have just a few extra on hand. Although, remember, with it being standard, they do have a weapon, so it's not like they have to worry about this being swordless or anything.
Absolutely. Opting to use that bomb he just got so that when he buys the bombs, he's not going to waste any space, because there are no capacity upgrades, so running out of bombs is a very real possibility.
You are absolutely right.
BrewersFan opting instead to save his money and go to the bombable hut in the southwest of Kakariko. May take a little bit more time, but he won't have to worry about farming for money because he spent all of his money on bombs.
Yeah, I do like the economy of that strat, but you know they're still pretty flush on rupees. So in this particular situation, I don't know that it's worth the time. But I mean, we will see. I mean, we've been proven wrong before.
Absolutely. And again, this being hard mode, potions being significantly less useful means that there's not actually that many things you can spend money on beyond Zora and just the few places that cost money to get items.
That is very, very true. The main things you got to worry about, you got to make sure you have enough to pay the Kingfish, and you got to have enough to make sure you get into Palace of Darkness. Those are the big ones. Also, chest game and digging game.
That looked like an arrow, I think, in library.
Either that or it might have been a safety wife. I'm not 100% sure. We'll get another chance to take a look at it here soon. Merlin5798 in chat asking, how are potions less useful? Potions will only restore 5 hearts and half of your magic meter. So it's not that they're completely useless, but their usefulness is vastly diminished.
Anyway, Solski chose to try and go into the race game and is punished by wasting a bomb to go in there. Chirality choosing instead to check the race game, which ends up being the right move.
Now, interestingly enough, Eastern Palace and Desert Palace are both red crystals, Crystal 5 and Crystal 6, so depending on how our early item progression plays out, we may have an early play at Fat Fairy. Solski validating the run yet again in the dam.
Yep. Desert Palace does take a abnormally large number of items to be able to finish for a early dungeon. There are flippers.
Hey, look at those. Some scuba diver must have left those laying around.
Weirdly apt place to find those.
Pay no attention to that skeleton that was laying next to him. You know, we're just gonna borrow these permanently. Now, again, the nice thing about this room that Solski's showing us, even if you don't have a good time trying to aim your bombs, you have a sword, so you can still complete Mini Moldorm without too much trouble. And let's take a look and see what we got. A little bit of cash, little bit of cash, part of a heart,
and the Master Sword. I'm sorry, that is not going to be later.
It could still be a ped seed.
Yeah, the ped dream is not dead by a long shot. There's a small love on the mirror flipper ledge.
Curious to see what Hobo's going to have, because we found flippers early, so this is all part of the logic at this point.
Absolutely. Nothing important. We are going to see Chirality check Ice Rod Cave, which Solski completely skipped.
be interesting to see what's over there. And I hate to debate your point, but hearts in hard mode, I would find them useful, but I'm not nearly as good at this game as these guys are. So, you know, hearts may be more useful to me than some people would.
Just bombs. So this is strange routing Solski's taking. I'm not sure it's actually faster to go this way unless he does not plan to go up to Zora.
Well, let's see here. You know, you make a very valid point, because he can logically get to Zora. He's got the flippers. He does not have to have the gloves. So I don't know. Very interesting.
Chirality's routing I've never seen before and makes a lot of sense. Going to Ice Rod Cade and immediately saving quitting. You get to... you can't do this, obviously, if you plan on fake flippering, but if you have the flippers, it does get you to the Hober a little bit faster. I really do like this move. Nothing in Waterfall Cave, and now to go pay the Piper.
I didn't quite catch what was on the ledge in Zora's Domain. Did you catch that?
I didn't at all, but we will get another chance at it in just a moment.
Be interesting to see what the Kingfish has for us today. Something good or just a life lesson?
Nope, that was a lantern. That is very useful. That is going to make most of Eastern Palace in logic to be searched rather than having to do some dark rooms to get the back of Eastern Palace.
Yep, I have to agree. That's something that I would definitely love seeing, is that good old lamp. It's a life lesson. It's like, yeah, don't go in the dark. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Absolutely. It also does lend... Oh, that is a hook shot.
That's a very nice find early, because that is going to help things go a little bit quicker. Solski, interestingly enough, doesn't look like he's going to go to Eastern Palace. I wonder what he's going to be doing now.
Oh, he sees sword and lantern and immediately is thinking Agawan.
That's very interesting. I kind of like this play, but oof, boy, that could be a gamble. That could be a big gamble.
This is a gamble, but like I think it will probably pay off, and it looks like Chirality is doing exactly the same thing.
Interesting.
Because it's not that we need one item, we need two to be able to get into Dark World. So the chance of there being both of the items we need in Eastern Palace and in Agina's Cave is actually pretty low. I do hope that one of our runners actually checks Eastern Palace, though.
It's very true, but bear in mind, having that hook shot, all they really need is gloves to be in Eastern, and that logically opens up Death Mountain. So I don't know. This will be very interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, we have LavanFirestorm checking, so we are going to see whether this was the right move or not.
Meanwhile, Solski making quick work of Aga Tower. Chirality using sword beam strats to keep those guards at bay. This is a room that can get pretty nasty on you pretty quick, especially, you know, low hearts and not easy to navigate in the dark. Especially without a lamp, this is one of the harder dark rooms you'll ever do.
Well, I personally feel like that particular dark room isn't worth learning. Simply because if I'm in AGA 1, it's because the logic has been very clear that I need to be doing AGA 1.
This is a very good point you make. Typically, you don't see the darkroom plays unless you're in a key sanity seed. So yes, you make a very valid point there. I don't think Lavan's found anything of huge value yet in Eastern Palace. Now, let's play a little fun mini-game, chat. How many blue balls do you think Solski's going to get on AGA 1? Put your guesses in. I believe it's between 1 and 15, if I remember correctly. Oh, OG Curb's calling for 15 blue balls. That would be terrible, but fun to watch. There's one. That's two. Meanwhile, Lavan giving us the big key. Yeah. It looks like just 2 blue balls.
Well, here's the other thing. Even if AGA is not required, this gives us quick access to Dark Palace, which allows us to go all the way over there and mirror to check Eastern Palace.
You know, that is a very good point you bring up. Also, they can always save that until later if they need to. Because remember, you'll have more options to find the bow here in Dark World. So, you know, once you find the bow, you can knock those 2 out in a heartbeat, just back to back. We're also going to be needing the hammer if we're going to make too big of a dive into Palace of Darkness. And yes, unfortunately, it looks like Eastern Palace was somewhat of a dud. So Solski and Chirality making the good call here and opting to do AGA 1.
Well, I'm not sure this is a call so much as a requirements. Because your choices at this point are AGA 1 or going all the way to Agina's Cave, which is so out of the way.
That's very true, although I know a lot of players, and I count myself amongst those. A lot of people prefer the early Eastern play, and like I said, that's something I definitely have in my toolkit. So Solski and Chirality, like I said, not even bothering to check Eastern and going straight to AGA. End up being good instincts on both of their parts. And we really didn't even find anything of value in the Eastern. It was, I think, mostly just single arrows and minor items.
Anyway, we're getting a bumper cave check here.
Just a bomb. Now, we haven't seen a map check yet, have we?
Not in the Dark World, only in Light World.
It's an interesting play, then, Solski opting to go straight to Skull Woods. I wonder what is going to be on his mind.
Well, ever since, what was it? Was it Logic 24, 25? No, it was 23, definitely. Ever since Logic 23, Skull Woods has routinely had a lot of really good items.
This is very true, although I'm surprised you would go here without necessarily doing a map check first. But, I mean, again, Solski, a far higher caliber of runner than I am, for sure.
Well, let's just practice. I'm sure he's had a little bit more practice. He certainly had more practice than I have. I am a little confused at this move. I don't know why you wouldn't get this key on the way. Oh, he went back first. He's getting this key so he'll be able to do the front of Skullwood's guaranteed a key.
Absolutely, yep. He's got plenty of keys now to be able to do what he needs to do on this half of things. And remember, there's only 2 items to be found in here, so once he finds 2 items, depending on what they are, he can bounce out of here and come back later. And look at that! The hammer! Definitely a good call coming here.
And last, we're going to see a bomb jump. Oh, how I love watching bomb jumps. Even though I've gotten good at them, it's still a lot of fun to watch.
Yes, definitely one of those tricks you want to pick up at some point if you want to get very fast rando times. Get comfortable with doing bomb jumps.
Now at the hammer, oh, we have our map check. It looks like Swamp Palace is going to have our green pendant, and Dark Palace is going to have our last pendant. The rest being, of course, crystals.
Very interesting, then. So let's see. As far as calculating our pedestal hype index, that leaves, let's see, Bo can't be there. Well, let's see. Actually, I think Bo's the only thing that can't be there. Unless I'm mistaken.
Well, they already have all the items they need to do Swamp Palace. Much to, I'm sure, the runner's chagrin. I hate doing Swamp Palace early. And Pod, they already have the hammer. Yeah, so Bow is the only required item that could possibly, that can't be on pedestal.
So, I mean, as far as what that leaves us with the possibilities of, you've got Cane of Samaria, you've got both rods, you've got a glove upgrade, you've got boots, you've got medallions. I mean, you got lots of stuff.
And any number of fetch quest items, including the book as maybe a callback to the 8 o'clock seed.
Oh god, the book on pedestal, fire rod, or one of the rods on one of the tablets.
On Ether tablet, yeah. Anyway, we have finally our pull into Thieves Town, which again is completely clearable now that we have Hammer.
And with having a Master Sword, definitely gives you an easy option for blind, provided you can keep full health. Sword beams are a great way to keep him at bay. Also, remember, blind can be a totally scripted fight, so it's one that you can practice and come out the same way every time.
$5 and our first bottle. 1 of 2.
1 of 2 with red goo. Now remember, it's only going to be worth about 5 hearts of healing, but you know that can sometimes make the difference.
And our runners do not actually have that many hearts, so that's almost as good as a full heal.
Also worth noting, remember for people that, you know, will use like Cape strats or Cane of Burnus strats on blind, when you're outside a Spike Cave, those items in hard mode cost twice the magic that they normally do. So it's a lot harder to use those if you're trying to use them to help beat this boss.
I think my favorite strats on blind are the Cane strats that Swordless mode uses.
Well, they're like in one-hit KO mode. Yes, like Cane of Brian is very good to have there.
I was talking Cane of other one. The red
that other cane, the big red cane. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the nice thing about blind. You have so many options because everything does the same amount of damage. You just need 9 hits from any source.
Provided it does any damage. The Fire Rod does a whole lot of nothing to blind.
Very, very true.
Lavan doing his bomb jump in 1 move. Very well.
And Brewer's going to be getting his hammer before too much more time goes by. So then every one of these runners is more or less been on the same path so far.
Yeah, we haven't seen any divergence. It's just been execution has put Solski ahead of everybody else.
Oh! Look! Doesn't have... Oh, he has to go around. He doesn't have the gloves. He can't pick up that block. He's going to take a long way around.
That is such a rarity, is to not have gloves in this dungeon.
Well, and you can tell, I think that might have given him a little bit of pause there because he didn't think about going to this chest right there at first. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, muscle memory plays into it, you know, and most people are used to having gloves when they go down this way.
He has taken a lot of damage here. It's going to make the blind fight that much harder.
I believe he still has that safety potion, though, so not too much to worry about, I think. But, I mean, you know, if blind is uncooperative, yes, this could go south pretty quickly.
The big thing taking that damage meant is that he had to waste time getting hearts in those pots on the way up to picking up blind.
Very true.
Anyway, let's see this blind fight.
It looks like Brewer taking a death, unfortunately. Very unfortunate there.
Did you notice where he was?
Yeah, he was actually in Skull Woods, and now he's going to be back over on the pyramid.
Very clean blind fight. I think he got hit once total. And that is nothing in Thieves Sound but a crystal. That crystal's good enough, but you're sort of hoping for some kind of progression on your way.
Well, for you people that calculating the PED hype index, I think your stock just went up a little bit. Not a whole lot, maybe a couple of points. Though bear in mind, we did find a bottle in here, so that does unlock Sick Kid. And Solski's thinking that same thing, and that's where he's going to go check right now.
I completely forgot about Sick Kid. Not paying off. So, Thief sound officially useless.
A bust.
Let's check the digging game. Since we can't even come close to picking up these rocks to see anywhere over here.
We are 2 gloves away from being able to do that particular check. Chirality doing a very nice job on the blind fight as well.
Not quite as clean, but gets the job done.
Absolutely.
I completely missed digging game while watching Chirality.
I don't think there was anything useful in there, but I kind of missed it myself. I think it was like a 5 rupees or something. No, 10 arrows. Never mind. My bad.
Yep. They can't check Peg Cave because they need Titan's Mitts to even get there.
Solski, however, is going to check Cave 45, is going to check Stump Kid. A lot of good checks to make on this side of things. And there's Hype Cave coming up, too. And that full heart container looking very good to Solski. He's going to go ahead and grab that while he's here. And I definitely agree with this play. Given the limited number of safeties, you definitely want to go for what survivability you can piece together.
Absolutely. I would not be surprised by a jump into Swamp Palace here, given that we're really running out of areas that are available, and to get back to Swamp Palace, not having a glove is going to take a while.
Well, also look at the fact it's a green pendant. You're going to get extra value out of this place. Normally, it's the highest item concentration outside of Ganon's Tower in the game. And then you take that green pendant, that adds it from 7 up from 6. And Solski finding the book, so very interesting find there.
I wonder if he's going to check Bombo's tablet before dipping into Swamp Palace.
I think that would be a very good play to make. And yep, he is going to be going down, it looks like, and checking that. Actually, no, wait.
He's going directly to Swamp Palace, it looks like.
Yeah, might just be saving that one until afterwards.
Which, fair. He already has all of the items he needs to complete Swamp Palace, so... not really much of a reason to skip it. And this is probably a little bit faster.
So if you're Solski right now, what's going through your mind? What are you wanting to find here in Swamp Palace? What's one thing that is just on your must-have list?
Well, as always, you're looking for the boots, you're looking for the flute. Both of those, fantastic. In this particular case, gloves. Holy goodness. Like, any kind of gloves would be very, very useful here.
Yep, I would say gloves definitely at the top of your shopping list as far as what you want to find.
Like,
Ooh, ether. That could be handy, especially if we are going to need that for Mire or Turtle Rock.
I think you mean only if we need that for Mire or Turtle Rock. I can't see any other use for ether.
Well, it's shiny. It has a lightning bolt on it. It's cool, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It looks pretty.
We have Lavan in the blind fight. He looks to be doing really quite well. He didn't take very much damage in the first 2 cycles. You can do it,
that
Lavan.
commentator's curse. Watch out. Come on.
Oh, half a heart. Good job, Levon.
Eking out the win there. I like it.
Now, if you're in Green Pendant Swamp Palace, you check left side, right?
I agree. I think you definitely should check left side. But, I mean, bear in mind, too, that's a little bit of a conservative play.
Well, you're in here solely to get items. I mean, that's... the only way you really get punished for that is if left side is compass and map. But Solski's not agreeing with me. He's skipping it completely.
Well, it's one of those things, too. He can always double back if he needs to.
That is not the fastest way through this if you're checking every chest, though. Doing left side with that extra key is just a little bit faster, and you won't have to go double back into this dungeon if you do that.
Maybe Solski's just gambling that that's how the item count's going to come out. But I know for myself, I would want to check left side, but I prefer doing things in one go. And that's a ice rod?
Yep.
Or was that a fire rod?
That looked like ice rod to me. We might see ice rod strats on this boss, which should be fun. Ice rod, the ice particles move a little bit slower than the fire particles, and I'm just not used to... I know I'm not used to using the ice rod to fight bosses, but Solski might be a little bit more inclined.
Depending on item selection, I always try to go for the swag silver arrow shot, and I usually miss it about 10 times before I land it.
Darius in chat asking what hard mode means. The short answer is all of your safeties are gone. The best sword, the best shield, and the best mail are all not in the game. There's only 2 bottles. You can't put you can't grab fairies with nets. Anti-fairies cannot be turned into fairies with the powder.
Yeah, it definitely earns that name hard mode, because let me tell you what, it's not easy. Solski making very good use of that ice rod to put Argus down. It's the green pendant for his troubles.
Yep, but still not seeing any important items other than the ice rod, which, I mean, we only need for Turtle Rock.
Oh, but remember, he still has left side to go check, too, and finding that map, there is definitely going to be something of value on the left side. Whether it's of high value is to be determined. Could just be a bomb, you never know.
There has not been a pet check. We only just got the book. You would have to go all the way back to Kakariko to check ped, and that's just... Given that the only way into Dark World right now is through Pyramid... Oh, and we have the boots!
Booties! What are those? I mean, you know, this is a speed run, and we have to go fast, so yes. Now, logically speaking, Desert Palace is open now.
Sort of. You can't complete it because you don't have those gloves.
That's a very good point. It's not fully clearable. It's just you can check the vast majority of it. Now, if we find the gloves here on left side, it is definitely open at that point.
It is. There were gloves on the left side. Look at Chirality's screen.
Oh God, that's right.
We have gloves and we have Desert Palace finally.
See, told you.
we have Desert Palace, and with gloves, we also have access to Tower of Hera, which will immediately give us access to the Big Ferry, which I am excited about.
As far as overworld locations, all of Death Mountain is open except for Spike Cave. And I'm talking by logic.
Oh, yeah. So that is one of the things, since the logic requires that you have Magic Cape or Cane of Burna to do Spike Cave, Spike Cave is the only place that those items do not use double magic.
It's more or less the penalty-free zone for that use. Solski's gonna mirror out here, gonna check the tablet, and I bet he's gonna go to Desert Palace after that because he's got his tools. He's got everything he needs.
That would be the smart routing choice, probably. Though he is completely skipping Agina's Cave. Oh, there is the flute on the ledge! Very efficient routing keeps Solski in the lead. Chirality looks not happy about those boots. I think getting boots 45 minutes in is a reason to celebrate, not be angry.
Hey, maybe those were slashes of joy. Maybe slashes of pure elation.
Like, hooray, boots! I'm so happy. I'm going to slash and waste time here.
Now, Solski so far I don't think has found anything of extreme value here, but Desert Palace is kind of one of those weird things where a lot of it is locked behind an item of some kind. Either boots, big key, gloves, something to that effect. Just a burrito on the torch.
So,
just a nickel.
Yep,
Just a nickel.
And our boss is going to have another item, so we will want to keep track for that, or keep an eye out for that.
Although finding that flute, good lord, what a find. I mean, that really is going to ramp up your ability to get around quickly.
What was that? Flute and boots found within 5 minutes of each other?
Got our booties and got our fluties. Both of those mean now we can go really fast. Chirality wrapping up Argus, LavanFirestorm right on his heels, taking out Argus himself. Solski still making a good push through Desert Palace, getting up to Landmollas.
Looks like Chirality is deciding against doing Desert Palace here, opting probably to go up into Death Mountain.
The only shame about that is he's not going to find that flute until much later. Brewer's going to have to be very careful and do some good dodging here. Yep, I agree with using this potion here. You do not want to come back. And was that Buttersword? Or not Buttersword, the Carrot Stick? I think that's our bacon blade.
On Solski? Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it is. He gets doubly rewarded for the routing he chooses. And now he's going just back to check Gina's cave.
Be interested to see what we find in here. I wonder where he's going to go after this, though. I mean, obviously you want to go unlock that flute. That's the first thing you want to do. But after that...
He's got to be going Death Mountain. There's another dungeon you can finish with Tower of Hera. And dungeons are what you want to be doing. If you can be in a dungeon at any point in time, that's where you want to be.
Do you think that pedestal is still lurking in the back of his mind? Do you think he'll go ahead and complete Tower of Hera if he goes up there? Or do you think he'll get his 2 items and bounce out?
I think it really depends on whether basement's required for Tower of Hera. It looks like he might be going for the pet check here.
Oh, you know, he's in the area. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, really, if you think about it, unless he goes back to Skull Woods much later with Fire Rod in hand, he's really not going to have a good opportunity to check the pedestal.
And I know how our runners love to destroy chat's hopes and dreams. Just as much as chat likes to destroy our runners' hopes and dreams.
Oh, looks like the dream destruction's going to have to wait a little while. Solski making interesting... Oh, go ahead.
I don't really agree with this routing he's doing. Given that he has the mirror, he can definitely check this on the way to Dark Palace. Oh my goodness!
Wow! That was a good call.
So all of Death Mountain now open for him.
Yep. Well, no, wait. Logically speaking, Spike Cave's still not really...
well, I guess what I mean is that adds Dark Death Mountain.
Oh, yeah. Spectacle Rock not going to have too much in store here.
Was a little strange that he just completely skipped Old Man there. Why are you gonna leave that guy in the dark, man?
Oh, he'll be all right. Let's see what Ether Tablet has. Just explosives.
Solski opting to just completely peace out with respect to Tower of Hera.
Well, you know, at this point... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think you and I were saying the same thing. At this point, you've got a lot more options on the table. You know, it doesn't feel like a pedestal seed just yet.
And pedestal being only one item, like the chance of it being a pedestal seed here is still so low that it's you probably don't want to be going into Tower of Hera unless you specifically believe that you need items from the item in Tower of Hera.
Well, and as far as items that we know we're going to need, I mean, Fire Rod could still be on pedestal. Bombos, if it's required to get into one of the two, either Misery Mire or Turtle Rock. So we still have some options that are available, but those are dwindling.
We have Fire Rod, Red Cane, and Medallions, I think, at this point. Because Pedestal can't be bow and arrow.
Yep, it cannot be bow at all.
And honestly, I would not be worrying too much about Pedestal until we got that bow.
Now, Chirality opting to go ahead and go into Tower of Hera.
Even being required to go to the basement, so this could pay off, or this could be a really big waste of time.
Well, depending on what he finds in there, you find the bow, you find the fire rod in there, that's all of a sudden the place you want to be. Interestingly enough, Chirality has not gone to turn in his green pendant yet, so his access for Death Mountain is somewhat limited. Alright, there's our Red Cane. Hiding in Super Bunny Cave, of all places.
That means that entry into Turtle Rock, is possible.
Assuming it's ether locked, you're absolutely right. Or assuming we find one of our other medallions in here.
Nope, just fetch quest.
Just a shroom.
Anyway, let's catch up with our other runners. LavanFirestorm making pretty quick work of... God, that's not Moldorm.
Landmolas.
Landmolas.
Worms. And interestingly, Solski finding out we need the bacon coin to get into Turtle Rock, so you might have to put that off just for a little bit.
He looks like he is, after having gotten that cane, he is going to do the mushroom trick.
I like this. I always like seeing this glitch on display. And what does Batman have for us today? Looks like
Our second
other
bottle.
And now we have our Christmas colors. Yep, and I'm with Solski. Get this check out of the way early. Get this done and over with. Gonna trade that in for a blue potion.
Meyer, probably the right choice. Whether or not we can actually finish, we can at the very least check to see what medallions required. And I completely missed it. I was even looking at the screen and I missed it.
Yeah, that was too quick for my old man eyes. We'll get a look in the shed here and see what we've got.
Fire Rod!
Ah!
So now, Turtle Rock's completable, if I'm not mistaken. It is as soon as they get that last medallion.
As soon as you find the bacon coin.
This can still be a ped seed. We are still waiting on that medallion. The medallions required to get into Turtle Rock or Misery Mire could very easily be on pedestal.
Well, unfortunately, Ether is... Well, I'd say unfortunately. It's actually a good thing for Solski. Ether's required to get into Misery Mire, so he's got that. But, you know, the Bacon Coin, the Quake Medallion, could still be on pedestal, and oh, that would be a trolley pedestal seed.
Oh goodness, BrewersFan has not checked Swamp Palace yet.
Right, we missed a ped check. We're sitting here talking about it, and Lavan just shot down our hopes and dreams. It's a single arrow. The master arrow sleeps forever.
I would call the master arrow the silver arrows, right?
But it's not the silver. It's not the master arrows.
It's nothing.
It's silver arrows. It's just a stick.
Basic
It's
arrow.
a sharp stick with feathers. Yeah, how did we both miss it? I just happened to look down on the restream and see it, and I was like, oh, wow.
I don't know, but Solski looking to get a Dream Mire with a very, very early big key. This is interesting routing. Oh, he needed the magic. I get it.
Yep. Most people think about health conservation in hard mode. You have to think about magic conservation too. So he's not using the fire rod. He's being very, very frugal with that magic usage. Now, if you're Solski, now you don't know that it's not a ped seed, so that's probably still lurking in the back of your mind somewhere. But what's next on your big shopping list? What are you looking for at this point? I mean, myself, I would be wanting to have a bow, but I mean,
I think the number one thing on his shopping list is that Quake Medallion, just because Total Rock is sure to have something if the Quake Medallion comes up early.
well, Turtle Rock could have the bow on it. We've seen it before. And chat asking if Tower of Hera had anything good. I don't believe that was the case. I think it had nothing of value. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't see it having any value at all. I know that BrewersFan finished it, and I don't see any items particularly useful in his trackers.
Solski opting not to get the full decanter on the left side. Very interesting. Because remember, he really doesn't have much in the way of safety items to use. I mean, you could use NMG strats, but he's down to 3 hearts. So it doesn't have a whole lot of health he's working with here. Down to 2 hearts now.
I think he's just planning on using one of his potions when he gets all the way to... The boss names. I always am thinking of a different boss. I'm going to forget Cold Stare when we get to Ice Palace, but this one I cannot remember.
Just say the big eye monster. You'll be right 3 out of 7 times.
Is it only 3 out of 7 times?
Actually, that's a good question. Is it just 3 out of 7 times? I don't know. We'll have to. Suddenly that's a very important question I want answered.
Solski looks like he started with bombs and then decided to go into sword slashes. I do think with tempered swords, sword is the way to go on this boss.
Well, and not having arrows, I mean, you know, it's having to take kind of a slow approach to this. I think he's got the right idea. I mean, you certainly don't want to get cute because it's a pretty big time loss to die here. Now, Chirality with no... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Chirality and BrewersFan both doing the pod play.
With no bow. I like this, but bit of a gamble. But bow could very well be in Palace of Darkness. We've seen it before.
Chirality not happy to see those gloves on Shahashra.
Saltarello getting the business. Solski opting to go back and fill up on potions.
This is fair because I think the clear next move is Ice Palace, and that can be very draining on your magic.
Actually, he got a red potion. Very interesting. Wait, he still has a green potion though, doesn't he?
No, he still has a blue potion. He only used the red potion to right before that Misery Mire boss.
And just say the big eye monster. You're right part of the time.
Super Ketchup Man, I would remind you that Magic Powder cannot turn anti-fairies into fairies in hard mode.
Yep, that's one of the things that a lot of people forget. Hard mode, you can't powder them anymore.
Chirality finding his cane.
I have not been following Brewers as he goes through Palace of Darkness. Have we found anything in here yet?
Well, we just got to the mullet part, so...
Oh yeah, now we're getting to the good stuff.
Well, that's subjective, of course.
Well, the relatively good stuff.
Solski opting not to do the bomb jump, which I don't think doing this bomb jump is a good idea if you have a cane.
Well, not only that, he's not in go mode, so he really doesn't. I mean, he doesn't have any reason to go straight down to Cold Stare.
What I'm saying is I do see a lot of runners do this bomb jump no matter what, even if it actually does waste time to do the bomb jump.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those tricks that if you're trying to get to Cold Stare as quickly as possible, yeah, by all means, go do it. But I mean, if you're still on the hunt for items, you know, it's not particularly helpful because you still got like the iced tea hallway. You've got a lot of places that you need to check. Although there were 2 items right there, both of them rupees, and not terribly helpful.
Like, if I had known that the first 2 items would have been that early, I think I might have done the bomb jump, but that's just information you can't possibly have.
Speaking of the iced tea hallway, we're going to get a look here just in a minute. Just another key. Still looking for that last piece, that last item. Chirality, meanwhile, going to get his fire rod.
BrewersFan checking the back half of pod. We'll see if this was worthwhile.
Lavan giving us a picture of what's going to be in the vanilla big key chest. A shovel.
So we're going to put a pin on whether this was worthwhile until later.
Asterisk. We'll figure it out later.
But yeah, Solski's execution so far has been just stellar. Just absolutely stellar.
Well, he is definitely a top-notch runner here. So I mean, he's very, very good, and he's one that he will always finish in the top echelon. Solski getting that frozen burrito. Now, Brewer's leaving Palace of Darkness. Wonder what is on his mind right now. I mean, other than, first of all, having to definitely stop in and get a little bit of a health refill, but where do you think he's going to want to go next?
Well, I mean, we know that Swamp Palace is the right move, but I feel like he's got to be thinking Swamp Palace has got to be the way to go. He's got to be thinking about Swamp Palace. And I understand the hesitancy to do Swamp Palace. It's not the most fun dungeon to have to do early, but, like, you gotta go in there, man.
Oh, and it's a pendant dungeon, too. Now, I don't know if he knows that this is not a ped seed, but, I mean, those pendant dungeons, you're always you're hesitant to go in there like, yeah, did I really need to do that? And you never know. So Solski pulling up to the big eye monster, version 2.0.
I actually know this name. This is Cold Stare.
Or actually, version 3.0. Very good execution, corralling those eyes, keeping them all more or less within a sword swipe of each other. And definitely because this boss hurts. Those frozen hugs are not nice. And gets the bug net, which is useless.
Yeah. I mean, we have a sword. This isn't swordless. We might get some swag in him going on, but other than that, completely useless. So, other than the crystal, we have Ice Palace being a bust. I think the story of this seed is Swamp Palace had literally everything.
We are still on the hunt for the bow, though. Now, where could that thing be?
I don't know if we've gotten all of the items in Skull Woods yet.
I think we've gotten 1 out of 2. So I think Skullwood still has something. Let's see here. Shovel, dig spot. I mean, so far, who can check? I think Lavan's the only one that can check dig spot.
Oh no, BrewersFan also has definitely, and Chirality. I don't remember Lavan doing pod, but I know that BrewersFan and Chirality both have.
And then bringing up a good point in chat, Fat Fairy could be on the table. Well, no, wait, never mind. Fat Fairy couldn't be on the table because you have to... Well, actually, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, I'm thinking Randomizer for some reason. Yeah, you do need the bow to get back there. Not to kill Armos, but just to kill the red Igor that's out in front.
Lavan getting his second bottle. Or perhaps his first.
Solski breezing through Skullwood's back half.
I don't necessarily know whether Lavan got the bottles in Deathmatch.
Chirality unfortunately took a death back there too. That's going to set him back just a little bit on time.
Like, talk all you want about how mean Cold Stare is. The Boston Misery Mire is probably the worst one to do without being able to just completely cheese him.
Oh yes, it's one of those things too that in a race setting you're thinking, I gotta go fast, I've got to move, and you know, sometimes you have to slow down because it ends up being the faster way to go. You just gotta take it slow and get it done. Dying is always the slowest route. Solski, I think, is going to take a look and see that the pedestal is in another seed.
Yep. I think Pod has to be his move here. He can't get into Turtle Rock. He can't finish Eastern Palace. And if Pod has that bow and arrow, then it's going to be the quickest way to get to Eastern Palace.
Well, he still has I think this last chest to check in Skull Woods may have something in it, but yeah, he'll probably end up making the pod play. But if bow and arrow's not here, I'm almost betting it's got to be dig spot.
Oh, Turtle Rock. Never mind.
There we go. Never mind. Bow could still be on Laser Bridge, but it could be in dig spot.
I think it's unlikely that Bow is in Laser Bridge simply because we have not gotten either the Canabrian or the Cape, so Laser Bridge is not in Logic right now.
At least not yet, but remember, there are 6 items total, or no, 5 items total in Turtle Rock, so definitely a possibility that you could run into it before you get there. I mean, and Turtle Rock seems to have a history of having pretty good items in the front half. But, I mean, we will find out when we get there. It's just still a lot of possibilities on the table.
Turtle Rock, a completely reasonable haircut. Not a mullet.
Chirality giving a great big hi to one great big eye and a few other little eyes.
Very safe strats, which is, I mean, the way to go here.
Especially dying's always slow.
Yep.
And Lavan's going to find his Quake medallion.
I don't know that he necessarily knows that Turtle Rock is Quake, though. And he does not have the cane yet.
True, but he at least has it for when he gets to that point in the journey. Well, Emporio in chat, if you want it to be somewhere forgettable, Dig Spot. That's something that a lot of people can forget. I say that because I've done it.
Like, I even forget to mark the shovel on my tracker when I'm doing it. I think it's pretty likely that it's in Turtle Rock. It having so many items, one of them is pretty likely to be progression.
I agree. Remind me, where was Powder? We found it, but where was it? Was it in Misery Mire? No, was it Misery Mire?
Did we find Powder?
I thought we did. Maybe I'm.
No. Solski did fake Powder for Bat, but I don't remember ever seeing Powder.
I thought we had found it for some reason. I cannot remember.
Well, it doesn't have anything important, and it's not useful either.
True. No, you're right. Vitreous had Powder.
Vitreous is that name.
Yeah, the big eye monster.
So close for that one cycle. This is my least favorite room in the entire game.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. This is not a good place to be, especially in hard mode. I mean, in hard mode, that just seems like a big just bundle of anxiety to deal with. And Dr. Nate, yes, when they programmed it that no item can ever be completely unreachable. So like Powder can never be behind Bat because you need Powder to check it.
We have, however, been through 28 versions to make sure that is the case. The programmers have done a fantastic job with this game. Change Up Room is the room we're talking about. We have two bosses going on with Chirality and BrewersFan.
Chirality making very good work of Mothla. One of my least favorite bosses, just because I know they say the optimal fight for him is about 4 seconds, but boy, it can get away from you in a hurry.
That is, of course, assuming that I believe the optimal fight assumes you have Tempered Sword.
I believe that's correct as well. Master 1080 asking, is there a tracker that reads the game as you play to mark what you have found, or is it just the same type as what we see on screen? Most players will fill in their own tracker as they go. I know I use Zarby's tracker. There's not one really, at least not that I've seen, that actually marks things as you go. But again, correct me if I am wrong on that, because I've always done manual tracking, and I know a lot of people do that as well.
The script for that seems like it'd be pretty difficult. Or at least significantly more difficult than just building a regular tracker. Because I have built not from the ground up, I've built parts of a tracker.
And Remiel Gaming making a point. Yes, actually, there is the SRAM trace that you can run, but you cannot do that in an SRL race because they're banned. Like you can't know what items are where, and having a tracker would allow you to know exactly what's where, because it would have to read the scripts for it.
I guess what I mean is I can't imagine a tracker that does it based on your gameplay as opposed to based on the scripts in the game. Because that's the only way I could see that a tracker would be legal for SRL races like that.
Have we checked Digspot yet? Has Digspot been checked?
Nope, no one has checked Digspot. No one's even come close to that area. SRL stands for Speedruns Live. Solski being cavalier, I think is the word I would use.
Braver than I am.
And there's the bow. We are
there. It is.
Go mode in Solski.
Goest of all the modes. Find literally the last place before Trinex you can check, and there it was.
I'm just staring at this. I don't... Solski does have the net, right?
Yep, he got it down on Cold Stare, I thought. At least I think it was on Cold Stare, I don't know. And like I said, in hard mode, it's so useless. I mean, there's really nothing you can use the net for.
Yeah.
And Shaolin asking if they need silvers on hard mode. No, you do not need silvers in hard mode. You can still get the tempered sword, so you can still beat Ganon without silver arrows. It's just, it's a pain in the neck to do it, but you can do it.
And I suspect these runners will be doing exactly that.
Oh yes, I expect these guys have put in lots of hours practicing silverless Ganon. And Chirality, unfortunately, taking the scenic route. Gonna get a little extra bang for his buck on the bus ride. I wonder what Brewers is going to be doing right now. Is he going to be trying to go back to pod? Maybe. I wonder what he's doing here. Or is he going to turn in his green pendant, possibly?
Yeah, he's definitely turning in his green pendant. Which is gonna finally get him his Titans.
I mean, just a trolley spot for those gloves too. I mean, wow. Lavan and Chirality both making their way through Turtle Rock. They're going to be very happy when they get to the end of Laser Bridge. Which Lavan's there right now. He's going to be real happy here in just a minute. See?
Especially given the route he took. He'll be in, yeah, Lavan will be in go mode as soon as he gets that last key.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. They got everything else they need.
And he knows it. He's leaving immediately. Chirality looks to be right behind him. These three runners took very, very similar routes. It was just execution that put Solski ahead of everyone else.
Lavan pulling up to Trinex now. Lavan hasn't been to Desert Palace, so he's unfortunately going to have to do this. Oh wait, he has been to Desert Palace, hasn't he? I was thinking he had, yeah, he's got Tempered Sword, so this won't be too bad. I know that Trinex is very, very tough to do with Master Sword. Well, maybe not tough, but more involved for sure. And you have to be very careful you don't magic lock yourself. But thankfully with the Bacon Blade, Trinex is not too bad. That level 3 sword definitely helped him.
Yep. Solski making sure he's completely maxed out on arrows for this fight.
Oh, and remember, no capacity upgrades, so you have to be kind of careful with those arrows too. You have to manage it just like all your other resources here.
Very clean fight, as clean as you could possibly hope for. And now we are on our way to Ganon's Tower, so it is time for chat's favorite game.
If you've never been around the speed gaming channels, we have a little game we like to play around here. Ganon's Tower, you need the big key to start climbing up towards the boss. There are 22 chests that you can check on the way up, or before you can get the big key to head up there. So, put your guesses in, just a number between 1 and 22, as far as where that Ganon's Tower big key is going to be.
You can say...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's all you. Go for it.
You can say a specific location if you want to not worry about what order the runners are going in. Or you can say a number, and we will be counting as we go up.
I mean, it'll be whoever the first runner is out of these sets. So if Chirality takes a different route than Solski does, we use Solski's route to determine the winning number. So go ahead and get your guesses in. Kemps, what are you thinking?
This seed has been interesting. Not really trolly. Like, I haven't seen this seed troll at all, so I think am hoping for that tile room play.
Oh, is it bad if I was thinking the same thing? I mean,
average. I think it's average if you were thinking the same thing.
You know what? I'm going to go for Bob's chest, number 14.
Absolutely. Mine is probably 22, but that really depends on whether or not Solski thinks this seed is actually going to decide to troll now.
All right, well, let's count them out as we watch Solski get started on Ganon's Tower. He's going to opt to go the right side first. There's 2 chests to check here. Also, having the cane, you can proceed and finish the whole right side. Number 1, number 2. Go ahead.
They say in chat. So I said there haven't been really very many trolls. I know mitts were on Sahasrahla, but everything was telling you that you needed to go into Swamp Palace in this seed. So Sahasrahla is just a very clear play, I think.
Now, the torch is considered location number 3 in this case because it is an item that you can check. So number 3, no help. So if you guessed 1, 2, or 3, I'm sorry, you're out. Number 4, you're out. Number 5, you're out. 6, you're out. 7, you're out.
Nothing on 7. The answer to your question is no. The logic only cares that it is possible, not that it is good. I'm waiting for a seed that has a required item on in big chest in Ganon's tower. I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh god, that could be so cruel.
I believe the only required item that could be in big chest is bow and arrow can be there, and hookshot can be there. I can't think of any other required items.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Hookshot can be in Ganon's tower big chest. 9, no help. Now we're coming up to what they call the rando room. Called because this the only time you see this room is in rando. You never see it anywhere else. There are 4 chests in here. And if you go through that teleporter, you have to go all the way back around to come back to this place. So definitely don't want to make a misstep there.
Boots could be required and in the Ganon's tower big chest.
By the way, if
what
you
number
guessed
was
11, 11 is tonight's lucky winner. So, who guessed 11? Let's see here. Hey, we got a few 11s in here. We have Xiaolin. We have Field 94. We have Travis Gurley. Congratulations, you guys. You have won a lifetime supply. A veritable cornucopia of love. Courtesy of Kempson Jackson says prices may vary. See store for details. Excludes Puerto Rico, Hawaii, and all 48 contiguous United States. And Cyclone doesn't count because he always guesses 11.
Of course. And be like if it was 17, which I always guess.
And yes, Alaska and Hawaii will get love. To answer your questions in chat. Now, Solski going to be making his way up the gauntlet, mainly because this is a series of rooms that they're all back to back to back, and you have to use a variety of techniques to get through them optimally. There is some variation in strats, but yes, that too. They, yeah, in hard mode, this is not a good place to be.
Solski making it look easy, not having taken a single hit of damage yet.
You just had to say something, didn't you?
Of course I had to say
Commentator's curse. But Solski doing a very good job running through here. Indeed, making it look very easy. A very, very good one cycle out of Solski for that.
Yes, but he used a lot of magic to do that, and I'm not sure it was worth it.
We'll find out here.
Levy still has enough to do Torch Room, but it is going to be a nail biter there.
I mean, just beasting his way through it at this point, though. I mean, this is, but bear in mind, this part of Rando. You can practice it to be the same way every time. I mean, with minor variations for item count and things like that, but you can do it the same way every time. Ooh, I think he's got enough. He does.
Everything's fine.
It's all good. Chirality having a little bit of trouble with that red Igor. That can be kind of a troll without silver arrows. It takes 2 shots to kill. Brewer's making his way through Turtle Rock, and Lavan getting ready to say another great big hi to one great big I. Solski making work of Troll Dorm number 2.
And
Silver's in the validation test! Oh, somebody called that. It wasn't me, but somebody called.
Yeah, I remember in chat someone saying that.
So if you called Silver's in the validation chest, you're the true winner tonight. The true validation arrow.
Anyway, Lavan is here on Vitruvius, and this guy's not being very nice, as you might imagine. Just a bunch of eyeballs being.
I am still recovering from the silvers in the freaking validation chest. I mean, wow. Wow. Well, Solski's going to have a nice time with Ganon then. He was probably thinking, well, okay, I can do this silverless. Now he's like, psh.
Oh, I love doing silverless. I think it's a little bit more fun because the more items you have on Ganon, the more boring he is. Let's be real.
Yeah, but let's face it, I like bacon too, and boy, he is going to make quick mincemeat out of Ganon here. Now, Solski gonna have to be kind of careful here. 3.5 hearts. I mean, yeah, you got silver arrows, but you got to get there first. Taking the smart play and utilizing that red potion.
In this format, I think you want to use that potion as soon as you have 5 hearts to fill.
Absolutely. And if there are any developers watching, I think you ought to put a text box in here where Ganon says, did you actually check the validation chest? Just say, did you validate?
Absolutely.
Almost got the triple. But Solski giving the big pig the big farewell. Very well done to Mr. Solski.
And we have Solski.Dunning with a first place time of 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 54 seconds.
Solski's your grand champion. Gold medalist.
Very good job.
Let's see if we can get him in here for an interview and get his thoughts on that seed. Give us just a couple minutes. Now, while we're waiting to see if we can get him in here for an interview, Chirality heading down to finish off Cold Stare, and then he's going to be making his climb up Ganon's Tower.
I do think that LavanFirestorm has taken just a slight lead over Chirality, and it's going to really depend on left side, right side here. Going full left side is going to put one of these runners into a big lead, probably.
Oh yes, not going with the Dark Magician strat, but instead just committing full left. That's I agree. I think that's going to be the breaker. And Brewer's taking a death. I think that might have been intentional. If not, it's not even that punishing because he does have that safety checkpoint. And yes, Lavan does have a lead over Chirality going up the stretch, but these runners still pretty close, all things considered.
BrewersFan, our last runner in go mode. Unfortunately, going to choose specifically the chest with the key in it to be the last chest he checks.
There's a bit of a heartbreaker there.
Taking one final death to be as full up on hurts as he can for Trinex, it looks like.
I definitely agree with that. Trinex does a lot of damage, and you want to have every edge you can going in there, especially since you can't powder one of the anti-fairies to get a last-minute refill.
Okay, Lavan, which side are you going?
All right, we have Solski, your grand champion, coming in for an interview. Solski, good game, man. Very well played on that seed. You made that look easy.
Thanks, guys. That was a lot of fun, that seed. Yeah, I got no words, really, how well I played.
I mean, just the early Swamp Palace paying off dividends for you, man.
That was such an odd play because I wasn't quite sure where the sea was taking me with no glove that late. And then I got a couple of items, went back in. I was like, okay, we'll at least go back for big chest and boots. I'm like, do I stay? Because normally I like skipping left side, but then the glove was there and I was like, oh, baby. The best part was that green pendant for Titans right after. Oh, I would have been so messed if I checked that late for sure.
Yeah, that was definitely the big help for you there. Going back over the seed, is there anything that you think you would have done differently if you had it to play over again? Or do you feel like that went about as well as could be expected? I mean, granted, you got first place, but...
Yeah, the only play that really didn't pay off was Meyer. That's it. Everything else was, like, just value. It was crazy.
Well, I mean, Meyer did give you that, a crystal. It's hard to say a dungeon's not paying off unless it's a pendant dungeon.
Right, and that's why I went for it. I did like that I got the powder, considering powder in hard mode is essentially useless, and I already sequence broke it, so that was kind of funny.
Yep.
Hey, Solski, how about that validation chest?
Yeah, that was fantastic. I actually was hoping I saved enough arrows, and that's why, like, when I saw I had 5 arrows left, I was like, okay, just in case I run into them. And then, sure enough, validation.
Had it been in your mind at all to skip that chest? I mean, were you thinking, like, I mean, as you were up before you checked your arrow count, were you thinking at all that you might skip it?
No. Typically, if there's still silvers on board, it can save you quite a substantial amount of time if you find it within the last few chests. So I always just gamble checking those versus not checking it.
And it obviously worked out for you. This seed seemed very nice. Like, I know there were a lot of things that were very strange about this seed. What with essentially being required to do Swamp Palace in order to get really anything, but this didn't seem like that particularly difficult of a seed for a hard mode seed. Do you have any opinions on that?
Well, I typed the lull in IRC in the race chat like right after we got the blue mail, so that pretty much summed up my comment on that. I was like, come on, really?
Anyway, we have a LavanFirestorm taking a fall, but not a death, in Ganon's tower. And oh, he ran out of bombs, so is unable to check the to get the.
Ooh. Can't ditch out for that safety. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, it sucks when
Solski.
that
go
bomb
ahead.
bounces like that. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man.
No, I was saying it just sucks when that bomb bounces like that, for sure.
Now, going back over the seed again, what do you think was the item that when you found it, you felt the happiest to find? Like you were like, oh God, thank God I found this. Like, what point did you feel that in the seed? Was it the mitts on Sahasrahla, or was it something else?
The mitts and the Sahasrahla is probably the big one. I really liked finding the boots early just to give me that extra speed tech, and that was like risk and reward for Swamp paid off. Because we did get the book, and then going back in, like if we went in just for Desert for the book, I felt like that was going to be a waste of time. But the big one for me really was the hook shot, because when I had all the items, I had like lamp, lamp, master sword, and flippers. So just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a secret, trade secret, it seems like there's certain packs of items that seem to go into the game for your early progression to tell you if it's tagging them or not. And once I kind of actually went to Sash Cave in Eastern looking for that hook shot, and once I found it, I knew exactly what the play was. So that saved me that trip from Eastern.
So you're saying hook shot is indicative of Aga?
Well, the point that I didn't find the glove yet, and I had the early mirror, seemed really weird to me. And then with the flippers in there, and we still didn't get any progression outside the Zora area. Once I found the hook shot, I pretty much realized what it was trying to tell me to do.
You know, we've had a lot of people, especially since GDQ, we've had a lot of fresh blood coming into randos. You know, you're a very experienced player. You're you know, and not meaning this to, pandering or anything like that, but you know, you're a very solid runner. You're very top tier. What advice would you have to some of these new guys coming up, these new guys and girls that are coming up and wanting to get into rando, but they're maybe intimidated, or they're thinking, God, I don't know if I could do it like these guys do. You know, if you were talking to one of our newer players in the community, what advice would you give them? You know, what would you tell them to do? What would be your approach to take?
Honestly, I would just say fall in love with it. That's how I kind of started taking this seriously, was just the love for the game. Like, I've always loved Link to the Past, and when I found out there's a randomizer, it was love at first sight. Just enjoy it. Don't worry about like your place. You're gonna get better. I've already seen some of these the new blood, the younger guys that have only been playing for like 1 or 2 months, taking races off us. So it's really fun to get like some new guys in the scene. So, like I said, just if you're new at this and you want to get at it, just keep at it. It's a great community, pretty friendly overall, and honestly, it's the best you can do.
Yeah, I have to say, just personally speaking, it's one of the better communities I've had the privilege of being a part of. On a separate note, Lavan finding those validation silvers. But to getting back to what you were talking about, yes, this is a very good community to be a part of. And you know, like yourself and a lot of the other top tier runners, you guys are all very approachable as far as being, you know, having good advice and things like that. Is there any other advice that you would have to some of these newer kids coming up?
Kind of a meme one, but always skip Quakefish. Yeah, he's basically the worst checking the game, guys. Just never check it, please.
There's a reason we say hashtag catfished by catfish.
Dude, he's literally the Shack Tool of Link to the Past rando. He's terrible.
Well, again, Solski, you ran a very solid seed there. I mean, you put on a clinic, so you know you did amazing. Thank you for coming in and interviewing. Definitely, I'd say sit here and help us call these last two. We've got Lavan coming up. We've got Chirality right on his heels. I mean, these two guys not that far apart. You know, a Ganon fall can change everything.
Absolutely, these guys are really close right now. It also comes down to it, like those potions, they're only going to heal 5 hearts if they have any, so it's really going to come down to the skill of the Ganon fight.
You know, that brings up another question. It seems kind of silly to ask, I mean, because there's an obvious answer, but you know, what do you try to do differently when you're playing a hard mode seed? Or, you know, in terms of general play style, do you approach it the way you would any other seed?
A little safer, only in certain spots. So, as you guys probably saw, my Mire fight was extremely safe. Like, I wasn't going for any spins, just in case I got really truly RNG with the eyeballs. And I didn't want to burn any potions there just yet. The other thing I did was once I picked up that the prize pack was 20 rupees, I just farmed like crazy to get a couple of potions worth, just in the early going if I could.
Yeah.
Just for that extra layer of safety.
Lavan taking a death on Ganon, oh my goodness, that is going to bring Chirality and Lavan pretty much in lockstep at this point. I mean, Lavan may have a slight edge, and he doesn't realize he can't catch that fairy. It's hard mode. He can't use the net to bottle a fairy up. Oh, these guys are really going to be close now. Like I said, Lavan still has a slight edge, but oh, it's slight.
I would say it's about 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds here.
Yeah, he can't afford any more mistakes, because if he does, that could determine the race between himself and Chirality.
We have had a few more finishes since we started talking. We have Super Taylor finished second place with a time of 1:54.59. Salty Fry finished in third place with a time of 1:56.45. Minochi finishing in fourth place with 1:56.48. TGH fifth place with a time of 1:57.34. And let's start looking at these Ganon fights.
Lavan, he's going to have to be very careful. He has no potions. He's got a half heart left. He cannot afford any more mistakes. I mean, he's going to have to play this very carefully. Chirality, by comparison, has a full 7 hearts to work with. Not sure if he has any safeties or not, but he did take a hit there from Ganon, so he's going to have to be very careful. And Lavan, unfortunately, taking another death to Ganon.
This is hard mode. It is called that for a reason.
Yep, they don't call it hard mode for nothing, folks. So that puts Chirality in the lead, but you know, Chirality's only got 4 hearts. He's got to be careful.
He has gotten past the hard part, though.
Yep, and he's got silvers, so this can wrap up pretty nicely. Just going to have to have a little bit more solid execution. Hold on to it for about another minute or so.
A few more finishers. We have Willard Bradley has finished 6th place with a time of 1:58.06. Evanitis has finished in 7th place with a time of 1:58.08. To answer a question in chat, all of the warps the first time you go through Ganon are the same for everyone. So they are RNG, but they're the same RNG the first time you go into Ganon. The second, third, and fourth time, that is not necessarily the case, but for the first time you go through Ganon, everything should be exactly the same.
Chirality finishing off the big pig. Going to finish with official time, looks like, of 2 hours and 39 seconds.
Let's see if we can get Chirality in here for a interview.
I don't have IRC pulled up. What place did he finish in?
Chirality finished in 8th place with an official SRL time of 2 hours and 40 seconds.
Very nice. Again, a solid playing out of Chirality. So congrats to him, and we're going to see if we can get him in here for an interview. And we have him in the waiting room now. Going to pull him on in.
Oh, Lavan taking another death on the last phase of Ganon.
Chirality, my friend, very well played, sir. Very good run.
I'm extremely happy about my routing. I feel like I hit all of the right pegs except going for light Dead Mountain. But wow, my routing was really on point, but my execution, oh boy, oof, that was awful.
What do you think about Sahasrahla having the Titans mids?
That was extremely fortunate because, yeah, when I got the first the Power Gloves in Swamp Palace, I was actually worried that it was actually supposed to be the Titan Smiths and that everyone else actually had the Power Gloves a long time ago, and I'm the one actually doing really outrageous stuff, right? And then I just turned independent because, like, there is no way I was ever going to go back to Swamp to get a green pendant, so may as well just kill Argus just in case. And then when I actually find the bow and route in Eastern and Pod, then I can just turn it in and it's a quick check. And then the gloves. Just the gloves.
I mean, Swamp Palace ending up being the powerhouse here, more or less. Got both of your glove upgrades both tied into Swamp Palace.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't remember last time I saw a Swamp Palace that packed. The boots, you had, was there the Ice Rod in there? The Ice Rod?
Ice Rod was in there, boots
Ice
were
Rod,
in there,
boots,
both glove
Eater.
upgrades essentially were in there.
Am I wrong in thinking that Eater was in there as well? I remember it being the first item I found somewhere.
Yeah, I think Ether was in
which was necessary to, yeah.
Which was necessary to get into Mire.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, how much you delayed actually entering Swamp really determines a big bottleneck on how you perform on this seed, I feel.
Absolutely.
And then at the end, I felt like I was just going to the right dungeons in the right order and everything clicked.
If you could do something different in that seed, what would you have gone back and changed? Like, what would you do a little differently if you could have that do over again?
I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was pretty tired, and at some point I was just going places for no reason, and then turning around, and then going other places for no reason, then turning around, like at the end when I just entered Pod for no reason. I was just like, that's not one of the remaining crystals. Let's leave this place. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would have done, just better execution, and I feel like the only gigantic flaw that I messed up in my routing was when I decided to go Light War Dead Mountain, and there was basically nothing there as far as I can remember.
Yeah, I can't remember of anything super valuable being on Death Mountain. But again, this seed kind of runs together on you a little bit, especially outside of like Swamp and Sahasrala and all the high points. Bo being on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, and like, is there a single person that will consciously decide, oh no, I'm not going to make all the checks on Light Death Mountain? No, everyone does that. There's just too much stuff, too much potential. So going there and it not paying off is really not a big deal. Everyone's in the same boat, basically.
I'm going to have to interrupt you for a moment because our third person in the Speed Gaming channel has finished. We have LavanFirestorm finishing in 9th place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 17 seconds.
Very nice. That gives us 1st, 8th, and 9th out of our featured so far. So very well run on all accounts. I knew these guys were going to put on a good show. We'll see if we can get Lavan in here in a few minutes and get his thoughts on the scene. Oh, Chirality, to bring it back to you for just a minute.
Sure.
Did you feel at some point, like, was there a turning point for you in the seed where, like, you found an item and suddenly you just felt on top of the world and you felt like, yep, this is good, I'm on the right path, this is what I need to do? Did you ever have a point in that seed?
When I got the gloves from Saha, actually, and I had in my mind that I'm just dip pod, see what I can get, then dip Eastern, see what I can get, because I need the bow to complete both, and that felt just awful. And as I'm just walking towards pod, I'm just thinking, I can just delay them from later. Like, the biggest troll I can get right now is that the bow is actually inside one of them, and I was supposed to have it all along, but I'm just going to keep playing as if that's not the case. And that's when I went Dark Death Mountain, found the King of Samaria, and then, oh, well, let's go check if I can actually enter Mire. Oh, I can enter Mire. Oh, I get all the stuff. And then just get going that way. So it felt extremely good. But at the same point, despite this all working out and me getting progress, I'm still worried about that bow that's never coming out. And I need that bow to actually finish the game. And there's this constant worry that it was in one of those dungeons that I just skipped on. And then I just find that laser bridge. Classic bow.
Oh, yes. LavanFirestorm joining us in here. Lavan, very well done. I know it was a tough run on Ganon, but still grabbing 9th place. How do you feel after that scene?
I feel pretty good outside of the Ganon fight, honestly.
Well, so walk us through it. Just kind of start and kind of give us a brief overview. How did you feel as you were playing that scene?
Like, I always, like, if I get the Master Sword and the lamp pretty early, I am very prone to rushing Aghanim. So, I'm not sure if I was one of the first ones to go do that, but I know I'm pretty sure I wasn't the last, because I didn't go check Agina. Like, I don't want to go out of the way too far.
You, Solski, and Chirality of our runners in the SRL in the Speed Gaming channel pretty much were following each other the entire time.
If I can interject about the Aghanim thing, I wasn't really convinced yet at the beginning to actually go straight, but when I went to Sa and found the hookshot, that was a clear sign I need to go do Aga 1 instantly.
Yep, because with the hookshot, you can go all the way around and do the full circle. Like, I was kind of worried when I didn't find anything in Thieves Town or Village of Outcasts, like for lift upgrades or anything. Like, that was ridiculous.
Absolutely. So, Lavan, did you know that you can't catch a fairy in the bug net in hard mode?
I did not. Like, the first time I tried to do it, I'm like, oh, maybe I just missed it, whatever. So I went and I tried again. I've never actually ran a hard mode seed before.
Well, this went very well for your first time.
I'd say you had me fooled. I mean, it's you played it very well. So yeah, for being your first hard mode, again, that's a very, very well played seed.
I just wish I would have, gone and got those potions early, like gotten potions and fully refilled my health before one of those drop downs into Ganon.
You know, that brings up an interesting point. I want to ask all three of you this. I believe all three of you made a trip out of the way to buy potions for this hard mode seed. You know, how much value do you guys put on trying to install those safeties in a seed where most of your safeties are stripped from you? Solski, I'll start with you and we'll go around the room from there.
For me, just with the tougher dungeons coming up, that's why I had it in mind. Like I said, it's more just for general safety of just a couple of extra hearts, which can really make the difference. So I figured it was definitely worth the cost, especially since I already had the rupees covered for everything else in the game.
Chirality, what about you? Your thoughts on grabbing the potions as an extra safety?
I was really surprised at the amount of money that we're getting super early in the seed, and in the end I ended up using every single cent that I got, no exception. And the potions that I bought were 2 greens and that's it. Because I was really tight on money coming at that point where I went to that trip, and I still had not entered pod. And actually, pod wasn't even necessary in that seed, and I paid to enter for no reason. So I could have actually had the blue potion in the end instead. But I basically just got these 2 potions as safety for both Turok and Ice Palace. You don't want to actually be in front of Coast there and then you misfire your fire rod and then just like, oh, awkward. And the same against Trinex, sometimes the little heads can be a bit trolly. You just miss, and then you're just in a bad spot, and just you want the insurance that you won't have these disasters happen. So it's actually really valuable, and really in seas like that, you need to know your limits, I feel. That's really good advice for new players. If you're new and you basically have like 5-6 hearts and a fire rod, not half magic, and you're like, oh, let me kill Mothra. That fight is really heavy on RNG. You're not really sure what you're going to get, so it might be a smart idea to just know your limits. Don't discourage yourself, don't go there and just fail. Just come back later when you're going to be confident that you can do it. So basically, for me, buying these potions is basically the same thing, me knowing my limits. I'm not a god at execution, so I'm just making sure that when I get to these dungeons, these difficult dungeons and bosses, I know I can clear them and not have problems.
Absolutely solid points. Lavan, your thoughts on grabbing the potions as a safety, especially in a seed or in a mode rather, where your safeties are pretty much stripped from you.
I am a big fan of safeties in general. Like I'm not sure the differences in hard mode. Can you powder anti-fairies into fairies?
Nope. Can't powder fairies. You can't catch fairies and bottle them. You use double magic on like Cane of Burna and Cave, except in Spike Cave. I mean, yeah, pretty much all of your safeties are stripped from you except for potions. Even your potions only heal 5 hearts and half of your magic meter.
Yeah, in that case, definitely whatever safeties you can get they're worth their weight in gold. Like, even just refilling 5 hearts and half your magic meter can just save you from like a Ganon hug or running out of magic on Trinex. Like, if I would have had potions, if I would have had a couple more potions, rather, I probably would have been able to take Ganon down in one go, or at least probably the second go, since I got sniped by the bat on my very last silver arrow hit.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, but I mean, you played that scene very well. All three of you, very excellent job. I mean, showcasing very top-tier talent in the community. Chirality, I want to bring back to you one more question.
Go on.
Because it's gonna reference a project you've been working on. Yes, I'm gonna talk about it. Your guides that you're making for new players. And I'll go around the room as well with this. We've already asked Solski, but Chirality, if you've got newer players getting in, what's probably the most important thing you would tell some of our newer players that are just now getting into Rando, or they're watching these races and they're thinking, that looks like fun, I just don't know that I can do it, or I can't do it as well as these guys can. What's the most important advice you could give to a new player?
Well, you can't really compare yourself to really good people from the get-go. You can admire them, you can study them, see, oh, okay, they made this little neat trick in that room, let me try it as well. But when you start out, you are absolutely not going to have amazing times, and also your times are going to be relative to the seed. Sometimes they're trolly, they take longer, sometimes they're just shorter. So it's about setting yourself proper goals and like not being too ambitious, but just play the game once vanilla so you can have a little idea of where the items are and why you need them, and then just take a random seed and just like, let's go, I'm going to try to run it, and then time yourself. And that time is going to be extremely easy to beat. And the time after that is going to be extremely easy to beat again, because you're going to learn every time you do it. And then you're just going to keep shaving time. And as you just discuss and talk to people in the community and watch more games, you're just going to pick up so many tricks that it's going to all become second nature. And then you can just pick up on routing. And once you pick up on proper routing, then everything just clicks.
Very good advice indeed. Lava, I want to get your thoughts. If you were going to be coaching some of our newer players coming up, what's something that's important that you feel that you would want to let them know?
Don't be afraid to try the easy mode of the randomizer. It's there for a reason. It's there to start everybody on their way. It gives you extra safeties, which is the opposite of hard mode.
I think it's got like quarter magic in it or something like that. Where
yes,
yeah, I believe it has quarter magic. There are extra sword upgrades, extra mail upgrades. And definitely go through and play through the vanilla game. Don't worry about your times either. Feel free to run them if you want to join the races. You can join the races, and you don't actually have to run a timer. Or you can just run it alongside, grab the same seed that everybody else does, and just run it alongside. Don't even worry about timing it for the first 2 or 3 runs.
Yeah, this is a really good point, because a lot of people, even people that have been playing for a few months in the community, they look at race and they just think, oh, well, I'm not good enough to join a race. I'm not good enough. I can't compare to the top. It's fine. I personally have been running for a good while. I get decent times. I never expect to be top 3. Never, ever, ever. I don't race to win. I just race to have fun and just to challenge myself. It's about challenging yourself, I feel. Well, when you're starting out, that's the kind of motivation that you need to have. So, if you just want to try, the big advantage that you have if you just pick up a seed and play it yourself or just race with people is that once it's done, you can actually go to the Twitch channel of someone else that was running the seed and just play both vases next to each other and see what they did that you didn't do that actually gave them the advantage. And from there, you can actually learn and improve. That's the biggest advantage that you have if you join the races. And also, no one cares if you're last. No one cares, really. There is no pressure. No one has ever been an asshole to people that just didn't have a good day. The community is just really supportive, so don't worry and just join us.
You bring up a good point, and then just the mere fact that all 3 of you are sitting here and so willingly and openly discussing strats and improvement. You guys exemplified what's so great about this community, and that you guys are just so willing to help, and I think it speaks volumes about the kind of community that we have, where everybody's just so willing to help each other. There's no vitriol, there's no, there's competition, but it's good, friendly competition. And like I said, I think it speaks volumes to the kind of community that we have here.
Absolutely. Also, I just got reminded of something. So about these silver arrows.
Yeah, Lavan, I didn't ask you that question yet. Lava, how about those silver arrows?
I'm not even sure why I checked it. I was going to skip it. The only reason I did, I'm like, well, I'm restreamed. I'm gonna do it for the chat. Because I skipped every other chest on my way up there. I even skipped the one in the anti-fairy room. Skipped that one. I skipped the one in the Helmosaurs.
Aren't you glad you checked now?
I don't know. Honestly, I probably would have played more carefully on Ganon if I didn't have silver arrows.
It happens. But I mean, you should have. You'll have to watch the VOD to hear our reaction. We were like, "Oh my God, silvers! That's like the true validation arrow."
Absolutely.
Literally, I was actually worried about the Ganon fight, and then just open validation chest just because I do it all the time because it upsets people, and then I just get rewarded and just like, oh well, Ganon fight easy mode now. Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna have to interrupt you because we have our final finish of our featured racers. BrewersFanJP is finished in 13th place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 22 seconds. Let's see if we can get him in here for a interview.
Well, and as much as I would enjoy continuing this interview, I believe myself and a couple friends are going to be running a race right after this. So I'm going to go get ready for that.
Awesome, Lava. Well, again, very well played tonight, man. You know, thank you for giving us time for the interview and all your thoughts. And again, very well run. And thank you again for everything. You know, we appreciate it. And congratulations.
And thank you guys very much for the commentary. I'll probably be rewatching the VOD probably tomorrow when I'm not doing much. I look forward to it.
Well, and also, while we're waiting on Brewers to come in here, give all 4 of these runners a follow. I mean, they come out here, they put it all on the line for your guys' entertainment, so give them a follow. Every single one of these is a very excellent runner, and they are absolutely deserving of your time and attention. So if we can get a link for that in chat, that would be great. Yes, follow these 4. And incidentally, shoutouts to our 2 amazing trackers, I Am Swag Duck and Zombie Twitch. Thank you guys for all the work you're doing behind the scenes to help make it to where we can keep track of everything. It's, like I said, it's not an easy job, but thank you guys. And shoutouts to you 2, and absolutely give those 2 a follow as well. They are absolutely deserving of it. And I think just in a minute we'll have Brewers in here. But now, let's see. For those of you guys that are still out there and you like what you see, and you think this might actually be fun, we are going to be continuing the daily races throughout the month of January. So if you think that you want to get in on one of these races, you should. Why you haven't already is beyond me. I mean, you should definitely get in here and give it a run. We will be running them every day at 2 p.m., 8 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern Time. There will be 1 open race, 1 key sanity race, and 1 race that is chosen by the community. We vote on them as a whole, and the top modes get picked. This was a standard seed hard mode. This was one that the community actually voted on. So, you know, if, you know, say you want to try something different, open's not really your cup of tea, you'll have other things to choose from as well. So absolutely get in on it. This is a great community building event that we are doing. So please do. Like I said, if you want to try this, get in here and give it a shot. And we have JP Brewers in the waiting room. We're bringing him down here for his thoughts on the scene. Hey, Brewers. Congratulations, man. How you feeling?
If you're speaking, we can't hear you, man.
Oh, sorry, disconnected.
There you go.
So, yeah, sorry, it took a second for me to connect. What were you saying?
I said, how you feeling?
Oh, that was a bit rough. Man, I don't think that was a plan though, but it really did feel like it.
We'd say that was a Willard special, but he was running in it, so we know it didn't come from his imagination.
Yeah, this time.
So everything seemed to be in Swamp Palace. How'd you feel about that?
I guess it makes sense. It was the last place I checked. I was trying to avoid it because it was a pendant, but I mean, I knew it was going to have something. It has technically 7 items. Well, it is what it is, I guess.
How surprised were you to find the silver arrows in the validation chest? Were you thinking about skipping that chest at all, or was it something that you were going to open no matter what?
I was going to open that no matter what. I wanted to have silvers if I could. It's not that I don't trust my silverless Ganon, it's just that with what the resources I had, I didn't want to take that chance if I didn't have to.
No, I absolutely, totally agree. Was there any point at the seed where you felt like things were going, extremely smooth, that you felt like things were going your way, and then was there a point in the seed where you felt like, things felt a little bit rough? Kind of give us a quick run through on it for you real quick.
Well, I guess early on it was definitely slow going, but I'm sure that was how it was for everybody. I was definitely more cautious early on. I did things I wouldn't have normally done if it was a normal seed. Like, I put off Thieves Town a little bit until I had a little bit more protection. And in terms of routing, it was definitely slow, because things didn't open up until I got those gloves. I mean, once I had the gloves, I felt like things were going better. Everything kind of opened up, and then I at least made a good gamble right after that, going up to the mountain and taking a shot on Turtle Rock, though Laser Bridge, I'm still not good with those laser skips. But, yeah, I mean, once I got the bow, I was definitely still a little nervous, especially on Vitreous. But I think it went alright after that.
I think you did just fine, man. Is there anything this seed has made you want to practice more?
I think I definitely need to work on those laser skips a little bit better. Let's see, what else? I mean, just general, being more cautious about taking damage. I do take a lot of damage, and I need to be a little bit more cautious on that. I know I had one stupid death in Skullwoods. Probably another few mixed in there too.
Do you think you're gonna try some more hard seeds just to get better at this?
I don't know if I'll try hard seeds. I'm definitely going to try... I've been trying to get into NMG a little bit more. It's not necessarily hard. It does limit your resources a little bit more, and I think that's generally a good way to prepare. I mean, maybe another hard seed down the road at some point. But I don't know if I'm doing another one right away.
Well, good game. That was very well played on all of our runners' parts. I think that's the last race of the day. And I think that's pretty much all we really need to say here.
Yeah, it's definitely getting late. This is indeed the last race of the night. We do have some action coming to you tomorrow. We will have an entrance shuffle tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be commentated by KillerApp23 and Settles. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm from Kentucky. We're not good at that kind of thing. And then Dude and Space Cowboy will be tracking. Then we will have Keysanity at 8. That'll be commentated by Vitasia and Ridley Dragon. And then tomorrow at 11 p.m., we will have our open race. That'll be commentated by Big John and Cransoon. So that will definitely be a race worth catching. So lots of action coming to you guys tomorrow. Again, give all of our runners a follow. Give our trackers a follow. Give my co-commentator here a follow. D2, I've enjoyed calling this race with you. This has been Jaxus. Send us out of here, D2.
Follow Jaxus as well. Hey, he's been very nice and very fun to commentate with. Anyway, it has been a lot of fun to watch this race, and if you're interested, please feel free to join in and start playing Randomizer. We want to spread this as much as we can. And with that, I just would like to say good night.
Good night, everybody. And one last thing in chat, Rain. Yes, that is the Big John. You know him. You love him. That is the Big John. So tune in tomorrow night at 11. This has been Jaxus. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, all.